To me, this life was a love story from the moment that he woke up until he laid his head. By the way, he cut the deficit. Wanted to decriminalize marijuana, deregulated so many industries that he gave us cheap flights and, as you heard, craft beer. Basically, all of those years ago, he was the first millennial.
Jimmy Carter, the 39th President of the United States, recently passed away at the remarkable age of 100. Celebrated for his post-presidential humanitarian efforts and honored with the Nobel Peace Prize, Carter's legacy is often viewed through the lens of his contributions long after leaving office. But his tenure in the White House was anything but smooth, marked by significant challenges and controversies that shaped not only his presidency, but also his relationships with those around him. Among the most intriguing and lesser-known aspects of Carter's time in office was his tumultuous relationship with the U.S. Secret Service, the very agency entrusted with his protection. A president at odds with his protectors.
My name is Jimmy Carter, and I'm running for president.
Jimmy Carter's presidency was unique in many ways, not least of which was his fraught relationship with the Secret Service. According to Ronald Kessler's revelatory book, The President's Secret Service, Behind the Scenes with Agents in the Line of Fire and the Presidents They Protect, Carter was considered the least likable president by many within the agency. This strained relationship was not merely a matter of personality clashes, but extended to operational inefficiencies and mutual misunderstandings that significantly impacted the effectiveness of the Secret Service during his administration. Carter's approach to leadership was markedly different from his predecessors. He sought to project an image of humility and relatability, often attempting to distance himself from the trappings of power. This included actions like carrying his own luggage during campaign rallies to appear as a man of the people. But these gestures were frequently seen as performative rather than genuine, leading to frustration among Secret Service agents who were tasked with managing his security meticulously. The inconsistency between Carter's public persona and his private interactions created an environment of distrust and resentment. Agents felt undermined by Carter's contradictory actions, which often conflicted with the established protocols designed to ensure his safety. One particularly telling incident involved Agent John Piasecki, who served on Carter's detail for 3.5 years, including 7 months of driving him in the presidential limousine. Piasecki recounted how Carter never spoke to him during this time, refusing even a simple greeting. Such behavior was not isolated. Agents reported that Carter treated them and others with, quote, utter disdain, often dismissing their efforts and authority. This lack of respect undermined the agency's ability to perform their duties effectively, leading to a palpable sense of animosity. Operational challenges and security protocols.
President Carter called me at home and said, you need to pack your bag. We're going to Haiti tomorrow morning.
Beyond personal interactions, Carter's presidency was marred by significant operational challenges that directly impacted the effectiveness of the Secret Service. One of the most critical issues was Carter's handling of the nuclear football, the briefcase that contains the president's authorization to launch a nuclear attack. Carter, codenamed Deacon, refused to allow a military aide to keep the football at his property in Plains, Georgia. Instead, the aide had to stay in Americus, a 15-minute drive away. The decision was not merely a personal preference, but a breach of established security protocols. As a result, in the event of a nuclear attack, Carter would have been unable to authorize a counterstrike in time. The Secret Service, responsible for ensuring the president's safety and operational readiness, found themselves at odds with Carter's unconventional approach, further exacerbating tensions within the agency. Another operational hiccup involved the management of presidential luggage. His insistence on carrying his own bags was often seen as a mere publicity stunt, but his eccentricities led to more serious lapses in security. On one occasion, disgruntled agents deliberately left Carter's luggage in the trunk of his car at an airport, resulting in him being without clothes for 2 days. Such incidents highlighted the underlying discord and lack of cohesion between the president and his protectors. Furthermore, Carter's paranoia towards the end of his presidency contributed to an increasingly hostile environment. As his administration drew to a close, Carter and his staff became more suspicious, believing people were stealing items and eavesdropping on conversations within the Oval Office. This heightened state of distrust led to accusations against Secret Service agents, such as Carter's unfounded claim that an agent was stealing fried chicken prepared by the staff. In reality, it was White House aides Jody Powell and Hamilton Jordan who had consumed the chicken. But Carter's misdirected anger only deepened the rift between him and the Secret Service. Personal eccentricities and their impact.
when I got there, when I got there, I was asked to make some speech, and I made a graduation speech to a small college near Osaka. And since I had just left the White House, the audience was really uptight. It was students and their parents and teachers, and I was a little bit nervous too. So I thought that I would just put them at ease with a joke.
Good idea.
And it takes.
I try that occasionally here myself.
I wondered about that, and then. I knew it took longer.
It's a good thing you've got the Secret Service with you.
Carter's personal quirks and eccentric behaviors also played a big role in straining his relationship with the Secret Service. One of the more bizarre incidents involved Carter's attempt to attack and kill a small dog named Dolphin, a stray terrier that had befriended several agents. When the dog ate some food intended for the Carter's Siamese cat, Carter reportedly took a bow saw from a woodpile and attempted to kill Dolphin. Though the dog escaped, Carter's subsequent insistence that the Secret Service remove Dolphin from planes was a clear indication of his unpredictable nature. The incident was not just a matter of personal temperament, but had broader implications for the agency's operations. The removal of Dolphin, an animal that had become a symbol of Carter's more relatable and humane side, was seen as an unnecessary and extreme action. It reflected Carter's inability to maintain consistent and rational behavior, further eroding the trust and respect between him and the agents responsible for his protection. Carter's micromanagement extended to seemingly trivial aspects of his daily routine, such as the use of the White House tennis courts. He required aides to seek permission for even the most mundane activities, creating an environment of constant oversight and control. This level of interference not only hampered the efficiency of the Secret Service, but also signaled a lack of confidence in their professional capabilities. Carter's personal eccentricities were not limited to his interactions with the Secret Service. His leadership style often involved making grandiose gestures that were disconnected from practical governance. For instance, his proclamation that the White House would be dry, allowing only wine and no liquor at state dinners, was a policy that seemed principled but was inconsistently applied. On the first Sunday in the White House, the Carters ordered Bloody Marys before attending church. Public image versus reality. The Carters' contradictions.
Is it a service that has to do with the women?
Yes, it certainly does. Not enough.
Well, I'll see if we can fix that.
While Carter attempted to cultivate an image of simplicity and humility, the reality behind closed doors was often at odds with this facade. His efforts to present himself as a man of the people were frequently undermined by actions that suggested otherwise, and his public persona as a humble, hard-working leader was often at odds with his private actions. For example, Kessler discloses that Carter, quote, would regularly make a show of going to the Oval Office at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. to call attention to how hard he was working for the American people. In reality, as Robert B. Solomon Jr., who was on Carter's detail, told Kessler, quote, he would work for half an hour, then close the curtains and take a nap. Post-Presidency oddities and lasting impressions.
I really got started painting 2 or 3 years ago when I wrote a novel called The Hornet's Nest. And we were searching for a cover for my book, so I decided to paint the cover.
Only you would write the novel and paint the cover too.
And it turned out pretty well, yes.
Even after leaving the White House, Carter's unusual behaviors continued to reflect his strained relationship with the Secret Service. While staying at the General Services Administration's townhouse for former presidents, Carter was known to replace photos of Republican predecessors like Ford and Nixon with his own images, an act seen as disrespectful in highlighting the disconnect between him and those who had once ensured his safety. Secret Service agents interacting with Carter post-presidency navigated a legacy of mutual distrust and unresolved tensions, underscoring how his personal leadership style left a lasting impression on the agency. Now it's time to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the relationship between Jimmy Carter and the Secret Service? Let us know in the comments section below.